Can one glass of this juice in the morning really clear out your arteries? Hi, my name is Dr. Holly Lucille, and I'm a licensed naturopathic doctor. And today I'm sharing the recipe for a simple drink you can make to balance your cholesterol. Let's go. First up, lemons. They're a fantastic way to clear out your arteries. That's because they contain not one, but two different heart-saving nutrients. And these two nutrients absolutely obliterate cholesterol. The first one is called limonene. You see, you may not realize it, but food isn't the only way your body gets cholesterol. Your liver actually makes its own, and that's where limonene does its magic. It activates this enzyme called PPAR alpha that helps clear cholesterol out of your body. And if your liver was a trendy nightclub, limonene is like the bouncer that kicks out all of the desperate single guys. The second nutrient in lemons is called pectin, and it forms a gel that binds to your cholesterol and flushes it right out of your body. So what you do is grab 6 of the freshest lemons you can find, peel them, and put them aside for a moment. Next up, pomegranate juice. Studies show it's great for your heart. In fact, one study found it cut plaque building up by an astonishing 30%. But while some people say yes to this one, I kind of give it a big fat no. Most pomegranate juice is loaded with sugar, and sugar is bad for you. In fact, if you've got a problem with your cholesterol, chances are you're also insulin resistant. And that means you need less sugar, not more. So toss the juice in the garbage and go straight to the source. Pomegranate, the actual fruit. Cut it in quarters, then strip those seeds out. And the last ingredient we'll need is garlic. You know, there's a reason why garlic is so popular. Folk healers have been using it to treat their patients for thousands of years. Well, it turns out they're right. It's chock full of organosulfur compounds. And just like the foreman at a factory, these compounds shut down production, forcing your liver to make less cholesterol. That's why garlic is the perfect herb to help your heart. So we're going to use 15 garlic cloves in this recipe. Add the pomegranate seeds and pulse them in a blender. Then add the garlic cloves. You can add a bit of water if you want to make it easier to blend. Then throw in those lemons. Blend that all up for a few minutes and dump it into a big pot with a gallon of water. So let it just simmer for about 7 minutes. Don't let it get to a full boil. Just keep it on low to medium flame and shut it off when it starts bubbling. Now it's almost ready. First, strain it and let it cool off for about an hour. Then you can also add a sweetener like stevia or xylitol if you would like. That's it, you're done. Drink 1 cup of this juice every morning for 3 weeks. And after that, give your body a rest for about a week and then start again. It's a super healthy juice that's simple, easy, and inexpensive to make. And if you're trying to balance your cholesterol levels, it's a great way to get started. However, as powerful as it is, it doesn't solve the reason you have high cholesterol in the first place. If you want to balance your cholesterol and keep it down, then I strongly recommend you keep watching, because I'm about to take you behind the curtain and reveal some of the dirtiest secrets in the medical industry. I'm talking about secrets that are so shameful, your hair might stand up on end when you hear them. For example, there is a popular drug that does a great job at lowering your cholesterol. In fact, it's the #1 prescribed drug in all of America. But did you know it can actually increase your risk of heart failure? And that's not all. I'll also reveal the #1 food that's so bad for your heart, you need to stop eating it today. And guess what? It's not sugar. And I'll give you the lowdown on 2 everyday foods some doctors wrongly say are terrible for your heart, which is the real shame because when it comes to your heart, these 2 actually take the gold. One of them is so powerful, it can actually reduce your risk of a heart attack or a stroke by an astounding 60%. And surprisingly, the more you eat, the lower your risk is. You see, the right or wrong food lays the foundation for protecting your heart, brain, and even your life. Take eggs. Some people say they're full of saturated fat, and saturated fat is bad for you. There's just one problem. Studies show that eggs can actually lower your risk of heart disease by 75%. So the problem is you're probably not eating enough. You see, most people don't know food accounts for just 20% of the cholesterol in your body. The vast majority of the cholesterol in your body, 80% of it comes from your liver. That's why staying away from foods that are bad for your liver is incredibly important. And most people don't realize what a big difference their liver makes to their cholesterol levels. If you want to balance your cholesterol levels, it all comes down to a healthier liver. I'll show you more in just a few minutes, but first, I should introduce myself. Hi, my name is Dr. Holly Lucille, and I'm a licensed naturopathic doctor. And today I'm going to reveal 3 harmful foods that are terrible for your cholesterol, but are probably in your kitchen right now. These everyday foods are legal in the United States, but they're so toxic they've actually been banned by the European Union and numerous other countries. Now, I don't mean red meat, full-fat dairy, or shrimp. because in a lot of cases, these might actually be okay for you. The 3 harmful foods I'm about to share with you are actually promoted as heart healthy. I think you'll be pretty surprised once you see what they are. Plus, I'm going to share one thing you can add to water to naturally balance your cholesterol. It's completely natural, but this hard-hitting fruit is so effective, it's like a roto-rooter for your arteries. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by how easy it is to unclog your arteries and lower your risk of a heart attack or stroke. I'll also show you 4 cholesterol killers. These are completely natural and they're easy enough to find at most supermarkets. If you want to balance your cholesterol and keep it that way, then I strongly recommend just keep watching. And just to be clear, these 4 cholesterol killers tackle cholesterol problems right at the source. They help shut down your liver's cholesterol factory, and they help flush away your cholesterol right out of your body. So you could eat all your favorite foods and still balance your cholesterol levels. And if you want to clean out your arteries and protect your heart, the answer is actually a lot simpler than you think. I'll show you how you can use what I call the Pac-Man effect to search for and destroy the cholesterol in your body. You probably remember that old arcade game, right? Well, it's a simple trick you can do to drastically lower your risk of heart attack or stroke, so you can stop worrying about your heart and start living a happier, healthier, longer life. I'll show you how in just a few minutes. But before I do, take a look at this. Here's a breakfast menu from 1843. It is a meat lover's delight. There's corned beef, cold and hot ham, duck, veal cutlets, mutton, and even snipe. In fact, about the only course that doesn't have meat listed is dessert. Now, here's a modern menu. It lists food like yogurt, granola, pancakes, fruit, and eggs. Now, one of these menus is full of healthy, bodybuilding foods that are great for you and your heart and your arteries. And one of them is loaded with foods that absolutely are lethal. Can you guess which one it is? Well, I'll tell you in a minute, but first, I should introduce myself properly because what I'm about to share with you is very important. My name is Dr. Holly Lucille, and over the last 20 years, I've cared for thousands of people. I've been on national programs like The Dr. Oz Show and The Doctors, and I've been featured on Time Magazine's Alt list as one of the top 100 influential people in the world. But in my mind, there's nothing more important than making sure regular, everyday people like you and I get the health they deserve. And that's why I've spent years fighting the bald-faced lies the health establishment wants you to believe. I exposed the disturbing truth about high blood pressure, revealed a lethal toxin hiding in the homes of innocent families, and uncovered the alarming health hijackers harming millions of Americans. I've known for years how to help people improve their health and live happier, healthier lives. But it's only recently that I've uncovered the real reason why so many people struggle with high cholesterol. And I'll tell you, it's made a huge difference because thanks to this incredible discovery, it means we can finally get to the root cause of high cholesterol levels. And the best part about it is you can do this without impossible diets, dangerous medications, or risky surgeries. However, before we get started, it's only fair that I warn you. What you're about to discover challenges everything that you've been told about high cholesterol. But don't feel bad. Most people, even doctors, don't know the truth. Now, don't get me wrong. In my experience, most doctors truly want to help their patients get better. The problem is they're not only working with outdated, antiquated information, but they've actually been lied to by the pharmaceutical companies. But really, that's not surprising. After all, they're not a group of charities. They're multinational companies with a net worth that's more than some third world countries. So it's no wonder they're ready to do whatever it takes to get their way. But the truth is exactly the opposite. And they spend billions of dollars a year making sure that you believe their lies. I'll show you the cold, hard facts in a moment. But first, let's dig into 3 everyday foods that crank up your cholesterol levels. The first heart killer is 100% all-natural fruit juice. Pure fruit juice is good for you, right? Actually, not always. Plenty of companies add sugar to their juices by using fruit juice from concentrate. It's plenty sweet, but because it's considered a natural sugar, they can still write no added sugars on the label. Now, extra calories are bad enough, but fructose is particularly problematic. You see, every cell in your body uses glucose. However, your body can't really use fructose. Only your liver can. Let's say you weigh 170 pounds. If you eat 60 grams of glucose, that gets spread out between all 170 pounds of cells in your body. But when you eat 60 grams of fructose, it all goes straight to your 3-pound liver. It's easy to see why that overloads the liver and causes fatty liver disease. And this is why my colleagues and I are seeing fatty liver disease in like 9-year-olds. If you've got high cholesterol levels, the last thing you want is fatty liver disease because it actually changes the way that your liver uses cholesterol. So your LDL goes up, your triglycerides go up, and your HDL, kind of your good cholesterol, they go down. That brings me to the second heart killer. This is one you should never eat. It's marketed as heart healthy, but I wouldn't feed it to my worst enemy. And that's because it drastically increases your risk of type 2 diabetes, cancer, heart disease, autoimmune disease, and osteoporosis. It can even contribute to infertility in women and impotence in men. So what's this heart killer? It's low-fat mayo. If you add it to a sandwich, a salad, or a dip, it's a treat for your taste buds. And if you're trying to cut back on fat, it's a godsend. Or is it? Mayonnaise, yogurt, peanut butter. These are all foods that are naturally high in fat. And it's the fat that provides the rich, creamy texture that we all crave. But when you take it out, the only way to make food taste good is by adding artificial flavors and stabilizers, which means it's not food anymore. It's a chemical concoction they want you to think is good for you. And here's the bigger problem. Low-fat mayo and thousands of other food felons still contain dangerous amounts of trans fats. You may have heard trans fats are bad for you, which is why they were banned in 2020. And that's because they raise bad cholesterol levels and lower the good kind. However, there is a loophole, and let me tell you, it's a doozy. You see, products can write 0 trans fats on the label, even if they actually have trans fats inside. Now, you might be wondering, how is that possible? Well, after all, when you see 0, you figure it means 0, right? Well, here's the little catch. As long as a product has less than 500 milligrams of trans fats, food manufacturers can say it has 0 trans fats. But take a look at this. Do you see how many trans fats are actually in there? The National Academy of Sciences says there is no safe levels of trans fats. So any amount of trans fats is bad for you. And what these companies are really doing is cooking the books to make people feel safer in eating their toxic food. One brand of crackers, I can't really say the name, but it rhymes with dits, says the serving size is only 5 crackers. But who in their right mind eats only 5 crackers? I've never seen it. So you actually end up consuming a disturbing amount of trans fats. And this is why I take my job so seriously, because the vast majority of people don't have a clue this kind of trickery is going on. And the reality is there are too many harmful foods out there masquerading as good for you and good for your heart. And that's why I'm going to show you a completely natural way you can count on to balance your cholesterol levels. Now, here's the third heart killer, flavored coffee. This one drives me up the wall. Do you know that Starbucks has 87,000 different combinations of drinks on their secret menu? But there's one thing they all have in common, and that's sugar. Some of these drinks have as much as 73 grams of sugar per cup. You might as well just ask for a cup of diabetes to go. Now, some of you might be thinking sugar is a problem because of the calories. But that's not quite the case, because the real problem is that too much sugar causes that fatty liver, and a fatty liver produces too much cholesterol. Look, there's no question heart-healthy foods are big bucks, and big food will do anything to keep ranking in the dough. But you may be surprised to discover there's just as much money to be made in foods that are supposedly bad for you too. And growing up, most of us heard that eating things like red meat, eggs, and bacon raise your cholesterol. It's such a common idea. Hardly anyone thinks twice about it. But is it really true? Incredibly enough, that premise was developed more than half a century ago. However, more recent and better quality studies prove it's simply not true. There was a very interesting study published in the American Journal of Clinical Research. They did what's called a meta-analysis, or a meta-study, which means they examined the results of many different studies all together. And after looking at more than 40 studies, Here's what they concluded. Dietary cholesterol was not statistically significantly associated with any coronary artery disease. You see, your liver makes most of the cholesterol in your body, and food is only a small part of that. And that's because most of the cholesterol that's in food can't be absorbed by our bodies. In fact, when you eat foods with cholesterol, your body actually makes less cholesterol. And when you eat less cholesterol, your body makes more. In other words, eating cholesterol isn't going to give you a heart attack. Well, what about saturated fat? It is true some studies show eating saturated fat can raise your cholesterol. However, those studies almost always last just a few weeks. When you look at long-term studies, they show saturated fat doesn't raise your cholesterol levels. Take a look at this meta-study. Scientists examined 350,000 people, and they found no association between saturated fat and heart disease. And to be frank, I can't say that I'm surprised, because when you look at history, we see the exact same thing. Remember those menus I showed you earlier? In the 1800s, people ate a ton of meat in all shapes, sizes, and forms. And according to conventional medicine, that should mean people were having heart attacks left and right. But when you look at the statistics, you see something very interesting. Heart attacks and strokes were fairly rare. And when they did happen, it was almost never to young or middle-aged people. And nowadays, even though we eat 50% less meat, someone has a heart attack every 40 seconds. That means in the time that you've been watching this presentation, 25 people have already had a heart attack. Let me say that again. We eat way less meat than we did in the 1800s, but we still have twice the number of heart attacks. And that's not all that's gone up. Our rate of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and obesity has gone through the roof, and it's only getting worse. Even a first grader could tell you something's wrong with that picture. This is why when my patients ask me if changing their diets is enough to balance their cholesterol, I say we've got to do more. Unless you make everything from scratch, there's really no way to make sure that you're getting everything you need. And exercise, well, it is absolutely important, but it doesn't give you much bang for your buck. Studies show it only lowers your bad cholesterol levels by about 10%. So even if you manage to stick to a routine religiously, you're not going to see a dramatic change in your cholesterol levels. So now you've discovered the 3 heart killers you should absolutely avoid. And you've seen why diet and exercise might not be enough to balance your cholesterol. But if you're like most people, you're probably wondering about statins. Do they work? And are they really so bad for you? Well, I won't deny it. For many doctors, statins are a wonder drug. In fact, one even suggested they'd be added to the water supply. And just for kicks and giggles, his name is Dr. John Reckless. I kid you not. Look, in my opinion, that's not just a bad idea, it is dangerous. You see, statins definitely lower your cholesterol. They're great at it. But here's the thing. Study after study proves statins actually increase your risk of dying from a heart attack or a stroke. One study even found women experienced 10% more heart attacks while taking statins. Now, while that's pretty scary, what's even more terrifying is the drug companies know all about it. In fact, it was their own studies that discovered it. But here's the real shocker. They knew all about it before the drug was released to the public. And of course, statins have enough side effects to make your hair stand on end. They can cause liver damage, memory loss, increase your risk of diabetes. One of the most common side effects is muscle pain. I've heard firsthand how painful and debilitating that can be. Now, let me make one thing clear. I'm absolutely not saying statins aren't helpful. If you've already had a heart attack or a stroke or have other evidence of arterial blockage, then statins can be a lifesaver. The problem is the vast majority of people don't fall into this category. And if that's the case, then statins could actually make it much more likely you could suffer from heart failure. Listen, I know that's a lot of bad news to take in, but here is the good news. You can balance your cholesterol levels, even if everything you've tried up till now hasn't worked. And by adding these 4 cholesterol killers to your daily routine, you could also live a happier, healthier, longer life. Now, for maximum results, I strongly suggest you try to avoid the heart killers I mentioned earlier. However, if you'd like a fast and effective way to balance your cholesterol, then these 4 cholesterol killers could be a lifesaver. But before I share those with you, there's something I should clear up first. Most people, even experts, don't really know what bad cholesterol is. Now, if you're like most people, you've probably heard there are 2 types of cholesterol. The good kind, called HDL, and the bad kind, called LDL. Now, when you go to the doctor, they nearly always test for that evil LDL cholesterol. And if your LDL is very high, your doctor is going to be concerned. Because like most people, they have been told LDL is the bad kind of cholesterol. But here's the thing. There are actually 2 types of LDL. And most tests only pick up the first type. In fact, if you wanted to test for the second kind, you'd have to ask your doctor directly for it. And unfortunately, most people have never heard of it, so they never think to ask for it in the first place. And most doctors don't even think of suggesting it because they've been fooled into believing it's not necessary. So what's this test called? Well, it's called an Advanced Lipid Profile Test, or ALPT for short. The ALPT looks at how many LDL particles you have and how big they are. And here's why that's important. LDL is a particle, and like I mentioned earlier, there are actually 2 types of LDL particles. One kind is called pattern A, and it's big and fluffy, like a beach ball, and it's harmless. However, the other type, called pattern B, is completely different. It's smaller, it's more dense, it's kind of like a dodgeball. So how do the dodgeball LDLs get that way? Well, it all comes down to inflammation. When the lining of the arteries become inflamed, it can become rough and damaged. Instead of flowing through your arteries like a kid on a water slide, the LDL particles stick to the damaged area instead. And because they keep bumping up against damaged arteries, the LDL particles also end up dented, smashed, and scratched. If you've ever worn a fuzzy sweater, but then gotten a sleeve caught on a random nail, then you know what I'm talking about. Over time, the LDL particles build up, and that can lead to plaque. So they go from happy little beach balls to those hard red dodgeballs that hurt like heck. But here's the problem. When you get your blood values back and it says your LDL cholesterol is high, it doesn't tell you anything about which type of particles you have. Is it the big fluffy ones? Or the small dense ones? Well, who knows? There are people with super high cholesterol levels who have very little risk of a heart attack or stroke because they mostly have the big fluffy LDL particles. And there are some with low cholesterol levels and a ton of the dodgeball LDL. Those people are walking time bombs and they don't even know it. If you have high cholesterol or just want to make sure your cholesterol levels stay healthy, then you need to lower the number of the small, dense LDL particles that science has proven are bad for you. And that's where the 4 cholesterol killers come in. You see, there are 4 different ways that cholesterol can build up in your body. And each one of these 4 cholesterol killers tackles a different pathway. The first one removes cholesterol from your blood, and the second flushes it out of your body. The third helps block your liver from producing cholesterol, and the fourth helps prevent cholesterol and plaque buildup. And in my experience, conventional medicine focuses on fixing the symptoms, not the cause of the problem. In functional, integrative, or naturopathic medicine, which is what I practice, isn't interested in suppressing the symptoms. We want to know why it happens and what we can do to fix it. And when you do that, achieving good health is completely doable. By adding these 4 cholesterol killers to your diet, you will balance your cholesterol levels naturally. And by addressing the root cause, you'll make sure it stays that way for long term. And best of all, when it comes to your health, these remarkable compounds aren't just great for your heart, they could also help you stay leaner, stronger, and smarter too. So let's dive in. The first cholesterol killer is polycosanol. I call this one the cholesterol vacuum cleaner. And that's because it sucks up LDL particles like nobody's business. Just take a look at these results. One study found it lowered LDL levels by nearly 30%, and another study proved it helped raise good cholesterol levels too. And that's pretty darn good in my book. However, you're probably wondering, how does it work? Well, it turns out your liver has special receptors that attract LDL particles. And once these receptors catch the particles, they break them up into tiny pieces. I like to think of them as Venus flytraps, but for cholesterol. because once the LDL particles hit those receptors, they're gone for good. Polyculcinol works by increasing the number of receptors. The more receptors there are, the more LDL particles they can destroy. And that brings me to the second cholesterol killer, berberine. If you want to flush cholesterol right out of your body, then this is the one you should choose. But before I tell you how this one works, let me give you a heads up. We're going to be talking about poop. Yep. So get your giggles out right now, because even though this might be embarrassing, what I'm about to share with you is the key to cleaning out your arteries. Berberine increases what experts call bile acids. Bile acids are like a sexy escort service, but for cholesterol. They travel to your intestines, which is a hotspot for cholesterol, and escort it right out of your body. Or to be blunt, you poop it out. No need to worry though. There's no pain and no strain, and it leaves your arteries clean as a whistle. In fact, a huge meta-study studied the effects of berberine in people with high cholesterol levels. And for the record, there were 874 people in these studies. And it turns out berberine more than lived up to their expectations because it reduced LDL cholesterol by 30% and cut triglyceride levels by half, which is astounding. But that's not all. It actually tripled good cholesterol levels, which is almost unheard of. I'd say this one isn't just a cholesterol killer, it's an absolute fiend. Those are some pretty impressive results, and they might seem hard to beat, but that's until you see this third cholesterol killer. The Chinese have been using this unusual food for thousands of years. In fact, it was an essential part of their everyday diet. Well, it turns out they were right. It's called red yeast rice, and dozens of studies confirm it's amazingly effective at balancing cholesterol levels. In fact, it works so well, the sale of it was actually banned in 1998. And that's because they discovered it was identical to lovastatin, which is a prescription drug used to lower cholesterol. Between you and me, I have my own theories about why they really banned it. They lifted the ban in 2001, but I think that gives you an idea of how powerful red yeast rice is. Studies show it contains a natural compound called monocolin K. And let me tell you, when it comes to cholesterol, it is a real winner. That's because it blocks the amount of cholesterol your liver produces. And that goes a long way to reducing your cholesterol levels right at the tap. In one study, researchers were stunned to discover red yeast rice helped more than half of the participants reach healthy cholesterol levels. It even boosts HDL levels. And last up is bergamot. It may sound like a perfume, but this odd sounding food is actually a citrus fruit that comes all the way from Italy. And although traditionally it's used to flavor Earl Grey tea, in recent years, scientists have discovered it has some incredible properties, especially when it comes to cholesterol. It reduces the amount of dodgeball LDL, increases HDL, your good cholesterol, and lowers triglycerides. It can even help you lose weight. And that's why it's the perfect choice for protecting your heart and arteries for long term. So now you've seen all 4 of the cholesterol killers. And it's clear they tackle all 4 of the ways cholesterol builds up in your body. Polyculcinol helps dissolve cholesterol. Berberine helps flush it out. Red yeast rice helps stop it from being produced in your liver. And last of all, bergamot protects your heart and arteries for the long term. And when you add all 4 to your diet, they're a powerful method of naturally balancing your cholesterol and staying healthy for the long term. Look, if you're struggling with high cholesterol, know that you're not to blame. And as you've already seen, fake foods can make it almost impossible to get your cholesterol under control. However, right now, you can finally do something about it, and now you know how. I've helped hundreds of patients improve their health using natural methods like these, and it's been truly a pleasure to see how much their lives have changed as a result. However, I also know not everyone can come to see me in my office and get personalized treatment. So I've teamed up with a team from PureHealth Research to bring you a product that I'm proud of. It's called CL Balance, and it's the safest, most effective way that I've seen to unclog your arteries, balance your cholesterol levels, and protect your heart. And with their product, when they first thought about how much to charge for this new formulation, they said, they would charge at least $100 per bottle. And they said that after adding in all of the costs for using the most powerful, responsibly sourced ingredients, some of which you can't even buy in a store, that anyone who was really serious about balancing cholesterol levels would snap it up right away and see remarkable changes. But after seeing so many people struggle to get their levels in check and how many didn't even have a clue their liver was to blame, I knew that the price had to get lower. So I spoke to the folks over at PureHealth Research, and they were able to bring the price down to $69 a bottle. And when you consider what a difference in your health it could make, I knew it was a real bargain. After all, if CL Balance could help you reduce your cholesterol levels by just 30%, wouldn't that make a huge difference in your life? And it's a pretty steep discount, but that still wasn't good enough. And after a bit more negotiating, they finally managed to get the price down even more. So as a special gift for those of you who've watched this video until the end, PureHealth Research is offering a very special time-sensitive deal. If you order right now, you'll be able to get your own supply of CL Balance for just $49 a bottle. And that's just $1.63 a day. It's less than a fancy cup of coffee and a lot healthier for you too. But it's just for people watching this video right now. So go ahead and click that button below to claim your special deal right now. Oh, and there's one thing you should know. You might want to consider buying more than one bottle of CL Balance, and here's why. CL Balance does a great job of helping balance your cholesterol levels. However, your liver constantly produces cholesterol. And when your liver isn't working the way it should, it doesn't take long for cholesterol to build up in your body. If you want to enjoy healthier cholesterol levels, a stronger heart, and protect your heart for long term, then grab at least 3 bottles of CL Balance. Plus, the more you buy, the bigger the discount. So you could end up paying just $42 a bottle, which is practically a steal. However, I highly suggest you grab this generous deal now. The team at PureHealth Research scoured the world over for the highest quality ingredients, and they tested every single one to make sure it's the purest, most potent it can be. And with all the supply chain problems right now, there's a good chance they could run out, which could be a disaster because imagine finally balancing your cholesterol levels and reducing your risk of heart disease. Then suddenly noticing you're out of CL Balance. You head back to the page you bookmarked, click the button below, only to see a big red out of stock banner. It could be weeks or possibly months until they get it back in stock. And I'd hate to see that happen. So if you want to make sure you have all of the CL Balance you need, click the order button below and you'll be taken to the secure checkout page. Just fill in your regular details and then click the button and your order will be on its way. The team at PureHealth Research will send you an email to let you know when it's due to arrive. But first, I want to make sure that you are completely comfortable ordering CL Balance. And that's why the folks at PureHealth Research would like to offer you the down to the last capsule guarantee. They want you to feel 100% confident that CL Balance can help you balance your cholesterol levels and improve your overall health. And that's why they'd like to give you a full year to see if that's right for you. That's right, you get a full year, 365 days to try it out and see how much better you feel. If for any reason you're not thrilled with your results, all you have to do is send them an email to the customer service. You'll get a prompt and courteous refund of every penny that you paid for CL Balance. No questions asked. And they'll even part as friends. No questions asked. It's that simple. You have nothing to lose by trying out CL Balance today and years of good, healthy living to gain. Plus, if you act now, they will send you 2 important reports that can help you improve your heart health even more. The first one is called The 7 Worst Foods for Your Heart and What You Should Eat Instead. And in it, you'll discover 7 more foods that wreak havoc on your heart. For example, one common breakfast is full of sugar, but you'd never know it by the label. However, if you switch it for one of our favorite cholesterol-busting foods, then the results just might make your day. That's because it's loaded with nutrients that are great for your heart. Plus, it can even help you feel fuller and reduce cravings. And you'll also discover a surprisingly healthy food you can add to your morning smoothie. It's simple to do, but it can help you balance your blood pressure and decrease the risk of blood clots. The next gift is the CL Balance Quick Start Guide. You'll get a simple step-by-step guide that tells you exactly how to get the most out of your CL Balance bottles. Both of these special health reports sell for about $47 each, but when you order now, you'll get them for free. They're yours to keep whatever you decide. But remember, the special 50% discount is only for those who've watched this video to the end, which you have qualified for. But I need to warn you, once you leave this page, your special deal will be gone forever. The way I see it, you have 2 choices you can make right now. You could treat your high cholesterol by the book and take the risk of liver damage, heart arrhythmias, and worse. or you could transform your health in a matter of minutes and enjoy a happier, healthier, longer life. It's your choice. But after seeing thousands of patients, in my experience, without intervention, most people's cholesterol numbers tend to go up even higher, which is a recipe for disaster. That doesn't have to happen. You can do things differently this time around. You can make the choice to stop putting your life on hold and start living the life the way you were meant to. All you have to do is give CL Balance a try. So click the button below and get started today with the investment in your future. And remember, this special offer from PureHealth Research is only available to those who've watched this video until the end or until supplies run out. So once you leave the page, it'll be gone forever. And when you try CL Balance right now, you'll instantly save on the cost of one bottle or more immediately. And don't forget, you have a full year to try out CL Balance and see how well it works for you. If you are not absolutely thrilled with your results, you'll get a complete refund. I'm confident you'll see a significant change for the better. This is Dr. Holly Lucille with PureHealth Research, and thank you for watching. Are you still here? I'm guessing that's because you still have some questions about CL Balance. Well, no problem. I'm happy to answer some of the most common questions that I hear. So how is CL Balance different from other supplements? Well, the answer is most supplements that claim to help you balance your cholesterol don't actually address the real reasons, that root cause for high cholesterol. Instead, they insist you follow strict diets and give up the foods you love. And the fact is, the food you eat contributes only a small amount to high cholesterol levels. Dozens of studies prove the best way to balance cholesterol levels is to focus on the real culprit, which is your liver. They have chosen the most powerful ingredients out there so you can clear clogged arteries, balance your cholesterol levels, and protect your heart health for the long term. This is based on meticulous research into the liver. The team at PureHealth Research spent months investigating every single ingredient, making sure there's a scientific basis for every single one, so you can get safe, effective results quicker than you'd ever imagined. Another question, what are the ingredients inside again? Well, CL Balance contains 100% high quality ingredients. If you'd like to see the full list of ingredients, just click the button below. Scroll down and you'll see the ingredients along with the dosage. PureHealth Research is extraordinarily careful about where their ingredients come from. They've searched the world over to find the highest quality, most responsibly sourced herbs. And every single raw ingredient must have a certificate of analysis for potency and purity to prove it. And that's not all. If you're not careful, the manufacturing process can destroy the active ingredients that make herbs work. So they run special tests during the manufacturing process to make sure every product is pure and potent before it reaches your hands. Plus, they don't use any antibiotics, artificial sweeteners, colors, or preservatives. And more importantly, however, I've made a pledge never to support a product I wouldn't give to my family or friends. And that means every ingredient has to get my approval before I endorse any product. So who can use CL Balance? CL Balance is for men and women who want to balance their cholesterol levels by tackling it at the source, your liver. And thanks to the 4 cholesterol killers inside, CL Balance can help you dissolve cholesterol and flush it from your body. It can also help you block cholesterol production right at the source, so experience faster results. And last but not least, CL Balance gives your body the tool it needs to protect your heart and your arteries for the long term. However, I know there's no supplement that works for everyone. There is usually a small percentage of people who may be allergic or who may not be able to tolerate one of the ingredients. If you're concerned, I recommend that you consult your healthcare practitioner before starting any new dietary supplement. Is CL Balance safe is another question. CL Balance is a natural supplement that helps balance your cholesterol naturally. With the right nutritional combinations, I believe taking CL Balance will help you see fantastic results. And if you do happen to notice anything unusual, please discontinue use and consult your practitioner immediately. Another question, how do I use CL Balance? For best result, you should take 2 capsules 20 to 30 minutes before a meal with 1 cup of water. And should I use CL Balance long term? Definitely. Toxins, certain foods, medications, stress, lack of sleep, and a host of other factors can affect your liver and make it harder for you to balance your cholesterol levels. And that's why you'll want to make sure your liver has what it needs to maintain healthy cholesterol levels. Just 2 capsules of CL Balance gives your body what it needs to clear out clogged arteries, balance your cholesterol, and protect yourself from a heart attack or stroke. So that about covers things. I'm thrilled you're finally going to have the opportunity to try out CL Balance. So click the button below to try it out, and don't forget to let us know how much better you feel.